Hello everyone, welcome to Programming Cradle. Today in this video I would like to talk about 7 interesting data science projects that you can do to learn various data science concepts and also to put them in your portfolio. So these projects have been selected based on 4 criteria. The first one is the projects should include various data science techniques. The second one is different projects are from different domains. The third one is the projects should look good on your CV. And the last one is the projects are not too simple. So there will be different layer of complications with these projects. So if you do the first stage of the project, it will be a simple project. If you do intermediate stage of the project, or if you do till intermediate stage of the project will be medium. And if you do the project end to end, the project will be slightly complex or hard. So depending on the level of expertise or the level of knowledge you have, you can choose and pick until what you want to do it. And as I mentioned, the projects are going to be from different domains. So if you do multiple projects, you will have more experience in various domains, so it will also help you in finding a job in different domains. But if you want to specialize in one specific domain, then you can do a project end to end in that specific domain, and that will give you more domain knowledge for that. So with that being said, let's straight away jump into the video. But if you're new here or if you subscribe to the channel, please go subscribe to the channel and be a part of Programming Cradle family, and also hit the bell icon so that you get notified each time when our video goes live. And if you end up liking this video, please give it a thumbs up. It keeps me motivated to make such videos for you guys. Data science projects. So the first project on our list is Smart Healthcare Assistant. This is going to be from healthcare domain. So you can develop a healthcare assistant that can predict diseases and recommend treatments and monitor patient health using variable data. So you can get this data from Kaggle, or if you already have a variable and you can access the data, it would be a nice project that you can work on your own data. The complexity here I have mentioned low, medium, high. So depending on how much you wanna work on this project. So I will first go on to different stages that this project will include. So data collection, variable devices, data cleaning, because if you are collecting data on your own or even if you are using Kaggle data, you will have to do some cleaning and structuring of the data. EDA, exploratory data analysis, you'll have to do that. Feature engineering, machine learning, classification, or you can also do regression problem if you want to do that. Depending on the data, you can work on other classification or regression problem. Then you can also do a deep learning project, maybe image based analysis. You can use CNN, things like that. For example, cancer prediction using the images. And the last one is generative AI. So if you want to do natural language processing for treatment recommendation, those kind of things. So now if you are only doing the data collection part, data cleaning part, and exploratory data analysis, that could be your low complexity project. But then if you want to work on machine learning projects and probably also deep learning project, then that would be your medium level project. But if you are very new to data science, or if you haven't had a lot of experience in machine learning and deep learning, then this part can go into high complexity project. So I would say if you stick till machine learning, I think that would be the medium level project for you. And then you can do deep learning and Gen AI part to increase the complexity of that project. So that is the difference between various complexities of this particular project. And then of course there is the deployment part as well, which I have not mentioned here. So if you are able to deploy the project, then that would be even better, because then it will look much better on your CV and in your profile as well. The last one is key technologies that might be used in this project. So you could either use TensorFlow, Keras, various NLP libraries, data visualization tools such as Python itself, or if you want to do it in Power BI, you can do that as well. So there are different things. If you don't want to use TensorFlow, you can also use PyTorch if you are comfortable with that. So this is the first project. Now with that being said, let's move on to the next project, which is personalized content recommendation engine. These days, as you might already know, all these big platforms like Netflix, YouTube, or any other social media platform like Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, they rely quite heavily on recommendation engines. So if you work on these kind of projects, it will look really good on your profile. And it's not just those big companies, there are a lot of smaller companies, they also rely quite heavily on recommendation engine. So you could work on this particular project. The complexity will be high here because it does not stop at data collection or just data processing. You'll have to work on end-to-end projects, so the complexity of this particular project is going to be high. Various stages are going to be data collection, mainly user interaction, and all the data sets that I am talking about here, or the domain of the data set that I'm talking about in this video, you can find them quite easily on Kaggle. It's just some of the data sets will be much better structured than others, but you should be able to find something there. The next step will be data processing. Then you can work on collaborative filtering, content-based filtering, those kind of things, or you can have a hybrid model which can take into consideration both of these filtering methods. You can use deep learning as well, neural collaborative filtering. And once you have a recommendation engine, maybe you build a couple of recommendation engines using various methods. You need to do a statistical testing there as well, because you need to decide which recommendation engine is doing well. So you will do a A/B testing. So that would look really good on your system, that you are not just building a system, you are also testing them statistically. Some of the key technologies that you might use in this project: Python, PyTorch, TensorFlow, sklearn. These are quite common. So that's that. Now let's move on to the next project, which is environmental monitoring and prediction system. As you might already know, a lot of governments, lot of companies, they are pushing towards sustainable development. So these kind of projects can have a really good impact in those domains. And if you are someone who is very keen on contributing towards environment friendly development or environment preservation, I think this project is going to be really good for you. So what you can do is you can create a system to monitor environmental conditions and predict changes, for example air quality or weather pattern, things like that. So again, the complexity of this project will be high, but then you can also have a medium or low, because if you just collect the data and you just do exploratory data analysis or just do the pre-processing of it, I think that could be a project which can be considered low to medium complexity. But then if you choose to go till the end, where you will be doing some time series analysis, or you will do a machine learning regression model there, or you will use LSTM technique from deep learning, so these will be slightly complex. So yeah, this is going to be a slightly complex project, but like I said, there are different stages here, and if you choose to work on only certain set of stages, this project can also be considered to be as low complex to medium complex. Technologies, it's going to be kind of same: Python, TensorFlow, sklearn, or data visualization libraries like Plotly or Matplotlib. Instead of TensorFlow, you can also use PyTorch. I forgot to mention PyTorch in all these slides, simply because I tend to use TensorFlow quite a lot, and I have very briefly used PyTorch, but PyTorch is getting quite a lot of popularity these days. So if you are someone who knows PyTorch, I think it would be nice to do it in PyTorch. Now let's move on to the next project, which is automated financial report generation. A lot of these financial companies, or even non-financial companies, there's always finance involved in any of those organizations. If you know how to automatically generate these financial reports, I think you will have a very good case when you will be applying for a job. So these kind of projects are actually really good. So what you can do is you can develop a system that can generate financial reports and insights from raw financial data. So the complexity of this project can be medium to high, depending on which stages you are working on. Data ingestion, so you will be collecting data from different systems. Sometimes a lot of companies, they keep their financial data in SAP or even in Excel sheet or in just SharePoint. So if you want to bring that data from that to your system, so for example you might be working on Databricks, you use Databricks as your environment, or you might be using Snowflake, things like that. So you'll have to ingest the data in that system, and then you would want to work on that particular data. So that would be your first stage. And if you just work on data ingestion, I think that would be the low complexity project. And then comes the data processing or pre-processing of the data. It can be considered as medium, because you will not just do the pre-processing, you will also do exploratory data analysis there. You will do some visualization, you will do some charting and things like that. So that can be considered as a medium project. Next comes the machine learning part. So when you will start working on machine learning part, I think that can be considered as a high complexity project. And in machine learning, you will do trend analysis or forecasting. You can also use some of the deep learning techniques like text summarization for report generation, and natural language processing, like extracting insights from textual data. And when I say deep learning, it also includes Gen AI. So you can do text summarization using ChatGPT or any other large language model. And also these days, these large language models are getting really good at summarizing those numerical values as well, if you are able to embed them properly and index them using a vector database. So if you work on all these things, I think it will be a high complexity project, and it will certainly look really good on your CV. And obviously the technologies that you can use are going to be Python, TensorFlow, natural language libraries, and financial data APIs. So with that, let's move on to the next project, which is smart home energy management system. These days, a lot of these energy based companies are getting quite a lot of investment and funding, and they are investing quite a lot in their AI capabilities. So working on this kind of project can also help you improve your profile and maybe find something in those organizations. So you can create an AI system to optimize energy usage in smart homes. So the complexity will be high, because here even collecting the data can be little tricky, because you might be able to find this data on Kaggle, but while they are becoming quite common these days, but they're still not that common. So finding the data itself is going to be slightly tricky. But if you're able to find a data on Kaggle or any other platform, I think that would be great. Next will be the pre-processing of the data using machine learning for energy usage prediction. You can use deep learning for optimization, algorithms, reinforcement learning, because what if you're not able to find a label data? So maybe you want to work on dynamic energy management, things like that. And of course, data visualization. In any of the data science project, data visualization is very important, because when you want to crunch those big numbers, it's always better to visualize them, and it just makes it easy to understand what's happening inside the data. Key technologies is going to be Python, TensorFlow, PyTorch, or energy data APIs. If you are pulling from some system, and if you have access to some APIs, I think that would be even better. And one key thing that I would like to mention here is in all the projects, if you're able to include multiple systems, so for example, you use a proper database instead of just Excel sheet, and then you have an environment, it could be Google Colab, where you will write all your code, and then you push the data back to the database. So that could be a really good system. And then maybe whatever code you had in your IPython notebook, you try to productionize it using Streamlit app or something like that. So now with that being said, let's move on to the next project, which is intelligent customer support chatbot. The days when we had dedicated customer support on phone, those days are gone now. Now that these ChatGPT or any other large language models they have come, they can quite easily replace those kind of tasks. And if you are someone who knows how to customize or fine tune your model as per your use case, I think that would be great. So you can work on a project to develop a chatbot that can handle complex customer queries using natural language processing. Complexity is going to be high here. Data collection, so you need to collect data which is concerning customer interactions. Then you need to pre-process the data, because you need to structure the data in a way that your model can understand. Then you need to do intent classification. So you can do intent classification using machine learning models if the data is properly labeled. If it is not labeled, then maybe you can use generative AI to classify them and maybe label them by yourself, at least some set of data, and then maybe you can move on to machine learning models so that you can do the classification of rest of the data. And this use case can be considered as a cost optimization problem, because you can obviously label your whole data using Gen AI, but as you might know, Gen AI is relatively expensive as compared to open source machine learning models. So if you choose to do that kind of step, I think you can mention that in your CV that you worked on a project where you optimize the cost of the development as well. So those kind of things are also quite interesting to mention in your CV. While it is not directly linked to this specific project, it can be implemented in any of those projects. But if you choose to do those things, I think it's important that you mention those things in your CV. Then entity recognition, dialogue management, you can use generative AI for the response generation, and reinforcement learning for improving responses over time. So those kind of things. Key technologies, same. NLP libraries like Spacy, NLTK, TensorFlow, PyTorch, Rasa, or GPT-3. Well, now you also have GPT-4, GPT-4o. So if you have access to those, you can use those things. But there are some free large language models which you can use. So I would suggest, if you're doing a pet project, you should just stick to some of the open source large language models. But if you want really good output, I think right now ChatGPT is probably the best one. GPT-4o is really good. But yeah, I would suggest stick to open source large language models. They do perform quite well. With that being said, let's move on to the next project, which is automated news summarization and sentiment analysis. This is the quite generic project, because if you work on this project, you will be able to work on any kind of textual data. So for this specific use case, you can work on a system that can summarize news articles and analyze their sentiment. So if you're someone who probably does not like reading whole lot of text, because it might take a long time to get everything out of it, you can make this kind of system and just pass through the article or a newsletter or something like that, and it will summarize it for you. So you will make a productivity application for yourself which can help you save some time. And the complexity of this project can be medium or high, depending on till what level you are doing this project. So it always starts from data collection, and you should be able to find quite a lot of news articles on Kaggle. That should be easy. Processing it, you cannot just use news article just like that, because sometimes you will have non-ASCII characters. You need to filter those. You might need to remove punctuations. You might need to remove stop words, things like that. So data processing will take some time. Then you can use NLP concepts like summarization and sentiment analysis. You can use deep learning transformers for summarization. You can use generative AI for the same thing. So there are different techniques. So what you can do is you can use traditional NLP techniques for summarization. Maybe you can use distance space, cosine similarity, things like that, to see how it is working when you want to cluster different type of news. Then you can use deep learning for summarization. Maybe you can use clustering methods from deep learning side as well. And then you can use some recent techniques like generative AI for the summarization. Obviously the Gen AI will perform the best because they have been trained for such kind of use cases, but then, like I mentioned earlier, they are slightly expensive to implement. So maybe you need to find a sweet spot, which is the right place to implement. So maybe you can do those kind of tests and see which one works the best. Some of the key technologies: NLP libraries, TensorFlow, GPT-3, sentiment analysis tools, so things like that that you can use. So these were the 7 interesting projects that you can work on. And if you have any other project ideas, do mention them in the comments. And you can also join the Discord server and also Telegram group. There we have quite a lot of people. If you have some interesting project ideas, you can just collaborate among each other and you can work on a project to gain some experience, and also experience of working in a team. So that would be really great. So yeah, that's all from my side. If you really like the video, do subscribe, like, comment and share, and don't forget to hit that bell icon so that you get notified each time when our video goes live. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.